The story begins not under the blinding lights of a stadium, but in the dusty, narrow streets of Lahore. A young boy, barefoot, chasing a torn tennis ball, his laughter echoing between old brick walls. His name was Saqlain Mushtaq. For the world, he would one day become the inventor of the Doosra, a magician with the ball who changed the very art of spin bowling. But back then, he was just a dreamer, a boy born into a humble family, carrying hopes far bigger than his surroundings. Saqlain's family was not wealthy. His father ran a small shop, earning just enough to put food on the table. There were days when the family worried about whether they could afford basic necessities, let alone cricket gear. For Saqlain, bats and pads were luxuries. His earliest training kit was nothing more than a taped tennis ball and an old wooden bat borrowed from neighbors. But where equipment was missing, passion filled the gap. He would bowl endlessly on the streets, spinning that ball until his fingers ached. Neighbors laughed. Some said, "Ye larka, pagal, har dinrod bas ball, gumata reta hai. This boy is crazy. He just keeps spinning the ball all day." But Saqlain wasn't just spinning a ball. He was spinning his destiny. By his teenage years, he joined a local club. The challenges multiplied. Established players mocked him, saying he was too slow, too raw, and lacked power. But Saqlain had something they didn't: a burning obsession to master spin. He studied the greats Abdul Qadir, the master leg spinner, and tried to understand how a ball could defy physics, dip suddenly, and deceive the batsman. Yet, deep down, he wanted to create something of his own, a weapon no batsman had ever seen. At 17, tragedy struck. His family's financial struggles worsened, and he was asked to leave cricket and help at the shop. For a moment, it felt like his dream would collapse. But Saqlain's father, despite hardship, looked at his son's eyes and saw something rare: determination unshakable. "Beta, cricket khelna, jo bhi ho khud, pei barosa rakhna," his father said. "Son, play cricket. Whatever happens, believe in yourself." Those words became the foundation of Saqlain's journey. He returned to the club with doubled energy, bowling until sunset, his fingers raw, his clothes soaked in sweat. His dedication caught the eye of coaches. They saw not just a bowler, but a thinker, a creator. And soon, whispers began in Lahore cricket circles. "There is a boy who spins the ball differently, very differently." This was the spark. The rise of a magician was about to begin. The year was 1995. The Pakistan cricket team was in transition. Legends were aging, and the hunt for fresh talent had begun. Among dozens of hopefuls at the National Cricket Academy, one name whispered with curiosity was Saqlain Mushtaq. His bowling was not fiery fast, not menacing with pace. But there was something mysterious in the air when the ball left his hand. Batsmen struggled to read him. The seam would flick, the flight would tease, and suddenly the ball would turn the other way. It was here that Saqlain unveiled his secret weapon, a delivery no one had truly seen before. Not an off-break, not a leg break, something in between. A ball that looked like a conventional off-spinner, but turned the opposite direction. It was christened by the world as the Doosra, meaning the other one. Selectors were stunned. In Saqlain's wrist and fingers lay a revolution. Soon, the call came. He was selected for Pakistan's ODI squad against Sri Lanka in 1995. The boy from Lahore, who once bowled with taped tennis balls, was now wearing the green jersey of Pakistan. But the international stage was ruthless. The first time he bowled, cameras flashed, thousands of fans shouted, and critics waited for him to fail. But Saqlain was not afraid. He closed his eyes, remembered his father's words, and let the ball speak. Batsmen who tried to attack him found themselves confused, beaten, and sometimes humiliated. His control was mesmerizing. Within months, he wasn't just a player. He was a sensation. The true breakthrough came in the 1996 World Cup. Pakistan was under pressure, and the young Saqlain was handed the ball in crunch moments. Commentators were skeptical. A rookie spinner in such a big tournament. But over after over, he bowled with the calmness of a monk and the creativity of an artist. The world had discovered its new spin wizard. By 1997, he had become Pakistan's strike weapon. Against India, in the famous Independence Cup, Saqlain dismissed Sachin Tendulkar not once, but multiple times. Each dismissal was a dagger in the heart of India's batting lineup and a spark of pride for millions of Pakistanis. Suddenly, everyone knew his name. Newspapers called him the mystery spinner. Young kids in Pakistan started copying his bowling action in playgrounds. But behind every cheer, Saqlain knew the cost. Endless hours of practice, bleeding fingers, and the pressure of expectations. He was no longer just Saqlain, he was carrying the hopes of a nation. And he was ready. By the late 1990s, Saqlain Mushtaq was no longer just another name in Pakistan's cricket team. He had become the heartbeat of their bowling attack, the man captains turned to when the game slipped out of control. His Doosra had now entered cricket folklore. Batsmen around the world dreaded facing him. In 1997, he delivered one of the finest performances of his career during the Independence Cup final in Dhaka, Pakistan, faced arch rivals India, and all eyes were on Sachin Tendulkar. The little master was at the peak of his powers, but Saqlain rose to the occasion with a calm face and a sharp mind. He bowled Sachin out in the final overs, turning the match in Pakistan's favor. That wicket didn't just win a game, it cemented Saqlain's reputation as Tendulkar's nemesis. Soon, he became the fastest bowler in history to reach 100 wickets in ODI, then 150, and eventually 200. Records fell one after another. The cricketing world marveled. Here was a spinner who wasn't just containing runs. He was winning matches single-handedly. His Test career was equally extraordinary. Against England in 1999 at Old Trafford, Saqlain spun webs around the English batsman, claiming 10 wickets in the match. Commentators described it as a masterclass in deception. Batsmen who tried to defend found themselves trapped. Those who attacked were undone by dip and flight. He became the first spinner in history to take a hat-trick in a World Cup during the 1999 tournament. But what made Saqlain truly special wasn't just statistics. It was the artistry. The way he walked back slowly, eyes fixed on the batsman, fingers twitching like a magician preparing his next trick. Every ball carried mystery. Every over was a performance. Fans didn't just watch cricket, they watched magic unfold. In the subcontinent, children started bowling Doosras in streets, imitating his action. Coaches in England and Australia scrambled to study his technique, trying to decode what made his delivery so unique. But no one could truly copy him. The Doosra was his signature, his invention, his gift to cricket. By the turn of the millennium, Saqlain was ranked among the world's best bowlers. Alongside Wasim Akram and Wakaria, he formed a lethal trio that terrorized batting lineups. Pakistan's victories often carried his fingerprints. He wasn't just a player anymore. He was a phenomenon. But behind the glory, his body began to feel the toll. Long spells, countless overs, and the demands of international cricket started affecting his shoulder. Whispers of injury grew louder. The world had seen his rise, but could it handle the thought of his decline? The magician was still performing, but the curtain was slowly beginning to fall. By the early 2000s, injuries began to haunt Saqlain Mushtaq, the magician who once spun webs around the best batsmen in the world. Now found his shoulder weakening, his body resisting the very art it once mastered. Critics whispered that his time was over. Younger spinners were emerging, and Pakistan, as always, moved fast. But for true fans, Saqlain was irreplaceable. Even though his career was cut shorter than it should have been, his impact was eternal. He finished with more than 200 ODI wickets and over 200 Test wickets, numbers that placed him among the greatest spinners in history. But more than the records, it was the legacy of invention. He gave the world the Doosra, a delivery that forever changed spin bowling. Today, every modern spinner, from Mutaya Muralithian to Harbhajan Singh, from Grimswan to Saeed Ajmal, owes a piece of their craft to Saqlain as imagination. After retiring, he continued his journey in cricket as a coach and mentor. He worked with England, Bangladesh, West Indies, and later Pakistan itself, guiding young spinners, teaching them the magic of flight, dip, and deception. Many players said, when Saqlain speaks, it feels like poetry. He doesn't just teach spin, he teaches belief. But perhaps the most powerful part of his story isn't the wickets or the Doosra, it's the message he carried. That greatness can come from anywhere. From dusty streets, from poverty, from nights when dreams seem impossible. Saqlain proved that with obsession, discipline, and faith. One boy can invent something that shakes the world. Even today, when young children in Pakistan bowl in playgrounds, many still whisper his name. His action is copied, his stories are told, and his Doosra lives on like folklore. He is remembered not only as a bowler, but as a creator, a man who gave cricket something brand new. As Saqlain himself once said, cricket is not just about wickets and runs, it's about leaving something behind that the world will never forget. And he did. Saqlain Mushtaq, the magician of spin, left behind a legacy that inspires millions. That no dream is too big, no street too small, and no bowler too ornate to change the game.